Dun, 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 dun. Check 1 2. Check. Hi, friends. Welcome back. Joining me as always for this auspicious podcast / program / show. Please welcome to the program Edmonton, Alberta's own Lochlin Cross. At Lochlin Cross on Twitter. You can find him at Crier Media as well. Good morning. How are you? You look, yeah.
I'm a little rough. I went to ministry last night.
It's a big test. Big psychological test for you. Because the last time you went to a ministry show in the 90s, you were high on acid and you tweaked, you peaked. You lost your mind for a few days.
Well, and I've got this weird thing where I get this rush of anxiousness and it's weird because I am not this guy. Like I don't have and I'm not making light of it. I legitimately do not have anxiety issues. I get nervous about stuff just like everybody else, but generally speaking, I'm not bothered by a lot of stuff. And so I don't know, the acid that I took in 1992 tweaked something and made it difficult for me to listen to that band. So last night I tried to address these issues by going to a show, ironically with a guy, Trevor, who was at the Thunderbird Stadium for Lollapalooza in 1992 and had a similar rough experience with ministry as well.
So he tweaked out too, and that's how you went to the ministry show. Is that as you were talking on the podcast about going to ministry a couple of months ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and this incident on acid in 92, right? You found a friend who had the same experience, and he texts you, or you're like, hey, you got time on your hands now that you're at Crier Media, and you've made this big move into digital media. Would you like to go to the ministry show and have a therapeutic ministry experience with me because I need to get over this too? That's what happened, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly what happened.
And that was last night.
That was last night, and I am a little embarrassed to admit that two things happened.
What's that?
One, as soon as the band started playing, I was enveloped in a wall of sound. Ministry is obviously
one of
they've
the
been
loudest bands of all time. If you haven't been to a ministry show,
and we were standing like 40 feet away from the band at this club Midway.
Yeah,
and the sound just like hit me like a wall. Oof. And I was okay for I think about a minute or two, and then I had like a rush of anxiousness, and my body felt like it was on fire. Like I started to heat up. Now, I had been drinking since about 2:30 in the afternoon.
To the point where you called me last night. We had a work conversation.
And I don't remember any of it.
8 o'clock my time. Yeah. And we had a full 45-minute conversation. I didn't say a word for the first 15 minutes. You just slurred your way into a series of ideas and thoughts.
Yeah.
And then you get home, and I hear you rustling around for a chip bag, crack another beer. You're talking non sequitur, and you inform me at 8 o'clock my time, which is 6 o'clock your time. I'm going to the ministry show after this. And I'm like, you're fucking going to you forgot you're going to the rock and roll show. Dude, you can barely talk. You're like, I'm going. It's going to be a great time. So you were rough before you went. Just wanted to point that out, right? You really committed yesterday.
Yeah.
Really committed.
So I left during the first song. Not kidding. Hey, I got a video to me coming home.
Hold it. We'll get to the video. Is this a Ring Doorbell video of you coming home, shitter?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's good. I can't wait to get to this. You didn't tell me that. So you went to the show to get over this experience. You put all that work in. You go day drink. You show up to ministry, and you lasted a minute and a half before you're like, I'm having another meltdown. I got to leave.
There was a combination of too drunk, and I did not like what was happening to my body when the band started.
Know thyself. That's what I
Okay.
love. Let's get to this Ring Doorbell. What time is this? You coming home, by the way? Do you know what time this was?
I have no idea. This is me, just gunned. Okay.
Do you remember this?
This is video number
Is that
one.
a fart?
I farted, yeah.
You got to rewind that. I have to hear that again.
Rewind it.
Listen to the fart. No, I need the fart.
Okay. Okay, now there's another video. Do you want to let me put the next video up, okay?
All right.
All right. This is I'll explain it after we play it.
All right. Let's see it.
All right. Here it is. I couldn't get in. Now, I walked to the back of the house hoping that the door would be open because I couldn't get the key in.
No dice, eh?
The door was open and I was able to get into the house through the back. And I went and looked at the video, the camera on the back of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And because I remember I woke up this morning and I remember falling. And I was hoping that the camera would catch it, but you just see the top of my head and then I'm...
You hit it. Took a header?
Well, because there's a bunch of snow back there, and so I had to make my way through like 3 feet of snow, and I bit it.
You know what, dude? Seeing that video of you stumbling up to your doorway and then hearing the fart brings me back. By the way, I just wanted to thank you for that memory.
Yeah.
And then watching you get defeated by said door inside, what was that, a minute and a half?
Last night, the door won.
Well, congratulations for trying to get over your ministry phobia, and congratulations for getting in your house. And maybe you should lock the back door. How was the wife this morning? Was she okay when you came to bed? At what time was that? 10 o'clock? 11 o'clock?
I think I think it was 9-ish.
You shit her.
I think she left the back door open for me on purpose because
she knew.
I have had some issues in the past with the front door key.
Yeah, we all have.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're all right. How you feeling this morning? Did you get on a Caesar? I haven't had a hangover for like 7 years. Don't miss them. But is it a hangover where you had a little hair of the dog or coffee? No, okay. Did you a little Advil? How are we feeling? You all right?
I took a couple of Tylenol and I'm shaking it off. I try not to complain about hangovers, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm an alcoholic and I do it to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do step up and drink to the point where I feel like a bag of smashed assholes the next morning, I have no one to blame but myself. So I try not to whine about being hungover, and I try to just suck it up and go about my day. I'm actually quite good at like doing mornings for the last 9 years. I was very effective at getting up in the morning,
putting a hangover in a box, right, and getting on with it, and then coming home and just dying. Yeah. That's an old school radio trick. If you can do that,
I'll probably have a nap at some point today, right?
Yes, you will, yeah.
And I'll go for a long walk with the dog. That'll help. But yeah, I try not to complain about hangovers.
Well, good for you. Yeah. You're a man. You get stuff done.
You know what? I don't actually drink to the point as much anymore as I used to. Like in my 30s and 40s, I kind of slowed down. Like I'd say now I have a hangover like this maybe 15, 20 times a year.
Really? Maybe that's it. That's all.
I'm kidding. You know what I don't do anymore? Very rarely do I throw up. That's like a 1 a year thing where I,
You know what? The throwing up is like that indicator too that you have done some damage to yourself. And it's funny because I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, "Yeah, it's just I can't drink anymore because when I drink, he's in his 50s too. He's like, now when I drink more than 3 drinks, I automatically feel nauseous, and it's his body saying, "Hey, dude, you've had enough. Like, tap out. You're done. You can't do it anymore." Which is why he can't drink anymore. So anyway, long story short,
I could talk him through that.
yeah, I'm sure you could. Yes, never met my friend Lochlin Cross or my buddy Black Dave. Never. Meet those
You just
guys,
got to
you're
keep.
fine.
You got to keep a certain level of toxicity in your life.
Well, you don't, but
he slowed
sure,
down, and then he didn't get back up on the horse. He's got.
No.
You can drink yourself through that.
Yeah, no, he can't. He's in his 60s, and his liver's basically tapping out at this point. He's like, "Hey, yeah, you need to stop." That's why he pukes all the time. And he's like, "It's weird because like I used to be able to drink so much before I puked." I'm like, "That just means your body's full, dude. Like you're done. Like your whole body's telling you to stop." And he's like, "Yeah, I know. It just means I have to drink less now." And I started laughing at it because like I don't care if anybody drinks. Like I love your stories. I love your Ring videos. I love hearing stories about how you're feeling. But like alcohol consumption over the past 2 years has gone down by like 30%. It's like the millennials and the Gen Xers are all like, "I'm not interested in drinking anymore. I'm not interested in not being here. I'm not interested in," they're all interested in drugs. That's what they're interested in because they made cannabis legal. So everybody's like, "Yeah, drugs. Let's get to some mushrooms. Let's do some acid. Let's do some marijuana. Let's have a good time."
Mm-hmm.
But less people drink today than ever before. And I can't remember the study. I was looking at it. About 5 million people last year in the United States had an alcohol disorder, like 5 million, to the point where it was like a disease. This year, that number was cut almost in half because people are drinking so much less. And specifically in the younger generations, like the younger people, they're way smarter than we are. Like they're like, "Oh, that's poison. You clean like medical equipment with that." And this are like, why would I drink it? But then there's us, people like us in our 50s, who were literally taught that like you go to a funeral, you get drunk. You go to a party, you get drunk.
Mm-hmm.
You have a family over, you get drunk. Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
you get drunk. Couple buddies over, you get drunk. And so it's this conditioning thing where everybody thinks it's good. But people like younger than us are going, "Hey, you old fucks, you're killing yourselves." So everybody's drinking less these days, which is I think kind of cool because it's as much fun as it is. I dig it. I don't do
two
it.
girls, and they're Gen Zs.
Yeah.
And,
so what are they like? Do they drink?
The one's a drinker, and they like to drink. And all their buddies, like she had a big group of friends in high school. They used to get together on the weekend. They were wildly safe about it, like remarkably safer than we were, and way more responsible about their drinking. And then the other one, she's not a drinker at all. My youngest. So Monkey Bird drinks, Bluebird. She'll have a couple of cocktails. She'll come over for Christmas. She'll have one. She's one and done.
Yeah.
So she's not a big drinker. And if she smokes, what is the one that doesn't get you high?
CBD.
She smokes CBD for pain and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, does she really? So she's into the pot. Like, dude, there's so many better benefits for pot. And it's funny because like
she's into the pot. I just think she's experimented with CBD to see if it helps.
Does it help?
And she was in ballet for since she was 13, like hardcore, right?
Yeah.
So her knees are a mess and ankles, and
she likes drinking.
So she's in constant pain.
Hates drinking and uses CBD because she went hard. She went too hard, and CBD works because it works with the cannabinoid system. And if I could tell everybody to take cannabis as opposed to drinking, I would. However, in the last year, this is hilarious. Drinking, people that didn't use alcohol for 30 days among the 16, 17, 18-year-olds in the United States dropped by 58% last year. Similar number. You know what?
Canada. COVID numbers were high. I remember seeing studies constantly, in 2020, 21, 2022, where we were drinking like fish. It's interesting too, if you start comparing Canadian numbers to other countries, we're heavy drinkers.
Huge.
Like I remember seeing a study, and we talked about it on the locker room, and I'm like, we beat Ireland in a couple of these, right? You think that the Ireland, they drink a lot, and per capita, it's like Canada was higher in a couple of these studies,
Yeah,
which I thought was
specifically
interesting.
Western provinces, actually, like Saskatchewan and Alberta were huge. I think Northern Ontario was huge, but the number of people who died of alcohol abuse apparently new highs during COVID-19.
Hmm.
The federal agency in Canada, your point, preliminary data said 3,200 deaths related to alcohol in 2019, 2021. 3,900 deaths, 4,000 in 2022. So that number skyrocketed because younger people saw what older people were doing, apparently, and the old people decided, hey, listen, I'm tired. I'm finished. I'm done. I'm not interested in doing this anymore. And they started to deliver alcohol, and they extended the like hours of the LCBO in this country, right, across the board, because that was an essential service, which I thought was really fascinating. Is it like, oh, it's an essential service to stay hammered, and it was because there were so many people in Canada, and this is science. Like the medical community is like, yeah, you gotta keep the liquor stores open. You got to keep drunk people drunk or they're going to get very sick. But the other side of that was because of withdrawal. The other side
Withdrawal
of that
from
is
alcohol apparently is
totally,
one of the worst
yeah,
withdrawals.
DTs, down tremens, yeah. So effectively, we'd basically opened up the liquor store for people during the pandemic and said, hey, we get it. This is in like an otherworldly, once in a generation experience that you don't know how to handle. So you need to start drinking. And everybody was like, yeah, I got to numb out. And so liver disease was up like
Woo!
300%. Alcohol related heart disease was up 200%. Pancreatic cancer went through the roof. Crohn's,
Opioid
colitis, opioid deaths
opioid
through the roof, right? Because people just didn't
went
understand how to
through the
cope,
roof.
which
We
I get.
still have a major issue with drugs in this country too,
Mhm.
though. Yeah, I think that,
What
I
do you
mean,
mean? Like we have a
obviously
major issue with prescription drugs, all
not
drugs,
pot,
pot, not pot.
prescript.
Pot's
Yeah.
not a drug.
No, I'm not. No, not
Not
pot.
pot.
I said
Okay,
not
good. I thought
pot.
you said pot.
No, I'm talking about the opioid
Mhm.
crisis. I mean, there's thousands of people dying every year from overdoses in this country, and like Vancouver, a buddy of mine lives just off of
Yeah.
Commercial, and he, it's interesting, he sent me a video one day of a van
Mhm.
literally driving down Commercial, down on the east side of
Mhm.
Vancouver, and picking up bodies, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. It's so bad. Vancouver, there's a couple of spots in Western Canada where it's bad. And it's also not just a homeless problem, right?
No.
Talk to anybody that works for emergency services, for the fire department, for drives an ambulance, and they'll tell you they're getting calls to the suburbs on a fairly regular
Yeah.
basis because of doses. And it's a major crisis, one that I don't think we talk about enough in this country, right?
No, any kind of substance abuse death is a sad death, right? And opioids being as
Yeah.
dirty as they are, and fentanyl being what it is. Apparently, there's a new like fentanyl that's 10 times more powerful than fentanyl.
There's a new
Yeah.
fent
There's always a new fentanyl, dude. There's always like a super mega fentanyl,
Good
like
Lord.
a 1A fentanyl. So there's this new fentanyl, so some people are dying. And to your point, and I'm just looking at some stats right now. You know how we were talking about in 2023, something like 4,200 alcohol related deaths just in from January to June in 2023. You had a similar amount of people die from opioids. So in like 6 months, so half the time you saw 3,970 deaths of opioids in 2023. Yeah, and the
Brutal.
reason why I'm bringing this up is it's not to jump from Lochlin coming home hammered, because the man gets his stuff done. He's not a miserable mess. He's not anxiety ridden. He's not living on the streets. He loves to drink. He has a good time. That's his inventory, and he takes it. But my point is this: is that there are so many people over the past, I don't know how long, and the younger folks are getting a little smarter than us. There's so many people that decided to cope that way that they have suffered the
Yep.
natural consequences of coping that way, whether it's illegal drugs, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, it doesn't really matter what it is that, the biggest issue that and it's repeated, and we see it in society today and it drives me crazy. And I see it with people that I work with, people that just don't have the ability to deal with stress, right? So that's what they do. I mean, sure, it's conditioning. Sure, it's behavior. How did you grow up? Well, how did you see your parents celebrate? How did you see your parents, deal with stress? Was your dad a drinker? Was your mom a drinker? All those things. All those things. All those things. However, the issue that I have is that every single person that I know, and I work with these guys, right, is that every single guy has the same problem. And that problem is that when stress comes to town or when there's a problem, they're like, got to drink. It's the only way I can handle this, right? As opposed to going through it and dealing with it. And I'm a bully in this regard. Like I talk about this with a lot of people. Talk to a lot of guys that are very well heeled, really great in business that just can't seem to stomach a conversation with their wife. Just can't seem to, deal with the fact that something bad happened to them. Don't want to look at it, don't want to deal with it. So they drink. And that is the main purpose behind substances for everybody, right? Is that, you just don't want to be here. Now you use alcohol as a substance. You enjoy having a few beers. Yesterday you tied
also
one
have
on, and you don't do that. You're not a shots guy. You go out, you have a couple shots. You're talking to people that you used to work with, having a good time, blah, 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 blah. Celebratory, it's in nature. But there are people that do that every day just to exist, and that's the difference, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and deny that I use alcohol as a way of coping. 100% I do. I think, and you and I had an interesting conversation about me working with you. The unpaid internship continues at Crier Media. And I was so grateful that you gave me this opportunity to continue to do what I do, because I would have lost my mind. And I've just come to terms with it, right? Over the years. I sort of function at a certain hum. And I don't know what happened to me, at what point it was in my
might have been when your mom gave you like that
life.
Fourth plate of marijuana brownies or hash brownies.
Well, there was some overdose issues as a child.
Yeah, it might have been it.
Yeah, 3 or 4. I was dosed. The one that I think may have really screwed me up was the Gravol.
Oh yeah.
I ate a whole box of Gravol,
right, in the backseat of
which
the car.
I would not recommend. I've told that story about like parking meters were talking to me. No, hold on. No, they were bees. The parking meters turned into bees, and then I was in the waiting room because they were going to pump my stomach, and I had my briefcase with all my coloring stuff in it, and I was putting it down. I think I've told this story. I'll tell it again quickly. I was putting it down on the floor, and when it hit the floor, it would like multiply by 1,000 down the hallway, and my mom just left me there to just stand there like an idiot in the middle of the hallway. And then I'd pick it up, and then it would go right back into my hand. Then I would just put it down, and it would multiply.
It's called a you were hallucinating at the age of like 7, 6. You're hallucinating because your mom graveled you in the back of the car.
Because
that annoying.
I ate like 12 Gravol.
Gave it to you because she's like, listen, I just need to knock that kid out.
But hold on. Here's the thing. Everyone has their coping mechanisms, right? And I try not to judge people for how they what they do to get through life. I have done one thing that I think everyone else should do. I suppress any emotions I have, push it down, drink it away, and move on.
And you have nothing to worry about. And if you don't pay attention to it, if it doesn't exist, you don't have to deal with it. Yeah, no, that works for a bit.
I try to when Dean starts getting into the sober Dean and the
like
stoic Dean,
these conversations?
Like I block you right.
Dude, you're gonna hate
I don't want to
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. By the way, just a quick aside before we get to Polly Walnuts and Trudeau's ski trip in the Palestinian Brigade. It's a great story. You're going to hate Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because I interviewed a gentleman named Donald J. Robertson, who is one of my favorite authors. This gentleman right here wrote this book called Marcus Aurelius, The Stoic Emperor. As you know, I am a big fan of Stoic philosophy. It's a 3-hour interview, 3 hours. where if you want to get your shit together, you will listen to all 3 parts. It's a 3-parter. I'm not subjecting people to 3-hour podcasts. So Monday, part 1, Tuesday, part 2, Wednesday, part 3, Donald J. Robertson on how to pull up your big boy pants and respond to life in a way that you can understand and in a way you can be proud of. So if you're interested in that, Lochlin, all that stoicism, it's 3 hours. This will help you more than this interview. This very interview will help you more than any meeting you'll ever go to. And you don't have to feel bad about yourself because you know the great part about this guy, he thinks the same way I do, the same way that everybody should, is that you're never too far gone. You can do the work. It's no big deal. You're going to be fine.
I am going to, I'll tell you what, I will make this promise to you.
You're not listening to that podcast at all?
I will avoid that podcast.
I would too. I would too if I were you. Polly.
Locker, brother.
Right? Look at him. Just like he's forcing reality away from himself. He's like, I'm not interested in getting any better. I don't want any kind of self-improvement. And we're all on this. No,
listen,
I'm not done talking. Any kind of self-improvement.
I'm jerking your chain.
On this wellness journey that we're all on, which is the idea we're all going to get better at life. Lochlin's like, Heisman to learning, not interested. I don't really need to get better because you know what happens? He's going to open up that podcast with Donald J. Robertson on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to go, I'm doing it all wrong. And I don't want to hear this for 3 hours. That's what happens. That's what happens.
No, I work on myself. I have my own less annoying way of dealing with it. And this is it right here. That's where the door won.
Yeah, that's him walking away from the door after not making it through the first song at a ministry concert because he was too hammered last night. That's what started us on this conversation about alcohol. God. How are you, Paulie?
Feeling better today than I have been the last couple of days. I'm fighting off a bronchial infection, so I'm not 100%, and I'm working from home every day this week. So,
you know what I call a bronchial infection where I'm from is a cold.
Not enough drinking.
You get vaccinated?
Yeah, I have 6 shots. Don't have COVID. No, I got tested.
Go get another booster. Go get another booster, fella.
As soon as one comes out, I will, actually.
I got someone said that to me yesterday. I was laughing. They're like, it was in reference to like something that had nothing to do with anything to do with COVID because I don't even talk about COVID anymore. I'm like,
can't be bothered.
I'm not even. So they like put out a tweet about like Austin Matthews, who by the way scored again in overtime last night.
Was he up to 55 goals now?
55 goals. Yeah, no big deal. I don't even know what Connor McDavid's doing. Doesn't matter.
Overpaid.
Anyway, so I put out a tweet about
Connor McDavid is closing in on 100 points for the season.
Here in Edmonton, doesn't matter.
Right.
Although you did make a pretty decent trade yesterday for Henrique and Carrick, which is nice. But doesn't matter. No one cares.
I don't
Edmonton.
hate that
No,
trade.
I don't either. So I tweet something about Austin Matthews, and someone tweets to me, "You'll like this, Paulie. Go get another booster, asshole."
How about that? Could you?
Just
Like, that's
randomly.
the classic non sequitur. Like that. What does that have to do with what I just said?
I put out a Marcus Aurelius tweet the other day about minding your own business. Someone's like, "Go suck Trudeau's dick."
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm like, right on, man. It's a very unhinged world out there on Twitter. And I saw it yesterday. Did you see the Paul?
Responses are disturbing.
Yeah, they're getting increasingly disturbing. Like Twitter is not a place for the faint of heart. Like it's not a place for people who are like, I don't like it when people say mean things. If you don't like mean things, Twitter is not a spot for you these days.
Don't
you can
go
just
there.
go. Like I can put up a tweet that says, "Hey everybody, have a lovely day. It's sunny and beautiful," and I would get, "Go F yourself, cuck, dick licker."
Yeah.
Libtard. I'm like, all right.
Well, it's because we our show broadcasts on your Twitter feed every morning, and I'll I go to check the numbers and I'll look and see some of the things people say, and I'm like, yeah, Dean's not on the show. But you showed your ignorance that you didn't watch a split second of it to realize he's been kind enough to let us show our program on his platform to a larger audience.
Mhm.
He's not on the show. Well, he said right here, what? I go, no, he didn't say that. I did. I'm the one on the show who said it.
This is what I love about the confusion of online anything, is that anytime you share something, people think you did it.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and we live in that age and that time where everybody just wants to like look cool for like 5 seconds. Or hope maybe that's the tweet that'll make me look cool. So they'll jump on your shit and they'll tell you something, and it doesn't matter what they're telling you.
No.
But if they don't get a reaction, they get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Where did Lochlin Cross go? Did he just beg out of the show? Did you just leave?
I'm trying to figure out
What?
I'm trying to figure out why I've got such a lag.
I don't know. Anyway,
it's a network thing.
Give me a minute.
yeah, he's popped out. Anyway, he'll pop back in. But and it's not even like I care anymore. Like Twitter is just one of those things. By the way, love the shirt. Twitter is just one of those things.
Parliament gave it to me. For
Did
my
he really?
birthday.
Yeah. Well,
Here's
that's
the
because you
sheet.
have a huge wiener. The man, the legend. Oh, that's because she knows you have a huge wiener.
I
But
won't say who it was.
it doesn't matter who it was. What matters is that you're wearing it and that you're here. So, but there's no there for me. Like there's no, when Twitter first started, everybody would be like, "Oh, this person replied to me. That's a legitimate reply. I'm going to reply back." There are no legitimate replies. Like 76% of traffic online now on Twitter is fake.
It's garbage.
They're all bots. So like,
garbage.
Like I don't even know why you reply. No
well,
point.
Every now and then I just feel like engaging to see what they'll say.
Do you really?
See, oh yeah, and then a lot of times it's like, oh, that's clearly a bot. I just mute them, just mute. But every now and then I'll engage just to see what the response is.
Yeah.
And if it's like a non sequitur response, I'm like, okay, that's a bot, and a mute, and bye.
Yeah, non sequitur response or something to do with licking a dick.
Yeah.
I just later, maybe.
Well, and then the ones that get me, they go, well, why don't you just, Daddy Trudeau? I'm like, well, I'm older than him, so he technically is impossible to be my father, number one. And number two, I didn't vote for the man. You didn't? What? No, never voted for Justin Trudeau in my life.
Why did they project
I don't live
that?
in his fucking riding. I can't.
Just because you have an issue with other people, you automatically love Justin Trudeau. You
that's
ride
the other
his
thing.
Like
that's the other thing, right?
Yeah. I love that one. That's one of my favorites from those people. Locke used to get it on the radio all the time when he had a job. He would say something about, Justin Trudeau or like Pierre Poilievre, or he'll say something about a conspiracy theory, and you get it here. It never ends, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I got both. Like you, depending on what you said, right? And it just that the conversation about politics is very, very toxic, and
it is,
and it's very divisive, and I don't understand the taking the sides thing. It just seems crazy to me.
Well, it's for the idiots. It's idiots. It's like any time you have someone who feels like they need to be part of a group, they can't think on their own. That's why they do it, right? And so they're any side. It doesn't matter who it is. Like you can look at the Dina
you guys
Sharif
mentioned it quickly too. The injecting the political conversation into any conversation it just means that you're in a loop. You got to get out, man. Like, I remember we would have a conversation. We would bring up just something random, and people would find a way of injecting a political statement into it. And it was like, we're not even. We would say this all the time. We get off air, read the text lines, and look at each other and go, we didn't even mention politics. Like. We're talking about the new Star Wars movie. Like, what? Why? Why did Trump come up? Like,
Yeah.
Like it doesn't
wake up.
Like people found ways of having that conversation and I'm like, that guy goes into work and he's just waiting to talk about Trump or Justin Trudeau or whatever it is. And then he's injecting that into every conversation, and his entire, everyone he works with hates him.
Yeah.
And those people are out there, and they're in growing numbers. It's not just in Twitter. It's in, in real life. Right. So
and I've got a friend like that who's been excommunicated. We got a big poker weekend this weekend, guys we've been playing poker with for 25 years. And we used to all hang out. And I use this analogy all the time, right? 5-6 years ago, you had a flat earth friend, you're just like, oh, that's crazy Jimmy.
Yeah.
Deal. Or 6 years ago, you had a friend who was like, don't get vaccinated. You're like, okay, idiot. Yeah. What's the big blind? What's the small blind? And let's play some poker. Like, you just didn't think about it. Now it's like this sorting hat, right? Where you're like, oh, he's not coming to the poker night, is he? No, he's not coming because he's not based in reality. But I read this fucking amazing article in the Tyee the other day, and it talked about, no, it was in Psychological Operations, his magazine about psychology. And the article talked about entitlement and how people who have suffered from years of entitlement, meaning sons and daughters of rich kids, people who've been given everything, professional athletes, maybe a Jamie Salé or maybe a Theo Fleury, they can't understand why their lives suck because they have this expectation of having their needs met without having to do anything. So the only reason, and I found this fucking fascinating, the only reason they reach for conspiracies is that sense of entitlement isn't being fed. And so they're like, the only explanation for me not being at the top of the heap in my mind and at the top of the heap of everybody else's mind and me not getting what I want and my expectations not being met is that there's got to be a conspiracy theory against me. And so they believe all these different conspiracy theories. And so the entitlement, and that's why you see a lot of rich people, a lot of people in crypto that have made a ton of money, a lot of people in real estate that are into this whole shit that are like, no vaccines for me. It's like, well, that's because you can't explain why your life sucks. And so because you don't want to take part in your life and that entitlement isn't being served and people aren't licking your taint and you're not being magically rewarded for just existing like everybody else isn't, that there's got to be a better explanation for it. And to them, it's like, well, that means the world's against me. Trudeau wants a piece of my ass, and Klaus Schwab is going to come for my 15-minute city. So, like, that's literally what they think, and it's fascinating because you can't argue with those people, right? So, to me, every single person that thinks anything like that is just persona non grata. Like, I can't be around those people anymore.
They're so incredibly toxic. It's like, and it's their whole personification of who they are. That's their whole personality. It's all they have
define
left.
them. It does start to define them, right?
Yeah. So there were people like that in my life that I just excised completely. Like you're getting circumcised from my life because I don't have room in my day for any of that sort of negativity shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I got enough ADHD, OCD, depression, and anxiety. That's enough to deal with.
Well, and a massive wiener. And a massive wiener. Do we want to throw that back?
Paulie's got a huge hog on him.
Yeah, he does. Really big cock.
Yeah. That's why I changed my name to Paulie's World, just because I want to be like Paul. The victimhood state too is also something that I think, and that constant need for attention, because we live in this like instant gratification world now with these things and right at our fingertips we can go on and we get this dopamine hit, right? I mean, it's a conversation we've been having for a long time now.
Yeah.
And so it's pointless having it, but at the same time, I think those things have like ignited and put fuel to what we're talking about, right?
Oh,
yeah. For sure.
Yeah, they have, and that entitlement feeds into stupidity too, because you have to be legitimately stupid to go, why isn't everybody treating me like a king and just giving me a paycheck for doing nothing and just existing and being this warrior, which lends itself to, right, when everybody has that sense of entitlement, to the LARPing aspect of this group of people that feel like they're warriors on every side. Like, it comes out in the Gaza-Israel protests where you see people dressed up. They got the flags and they got the beanies and they got the placards, and they're like, I'm a warrior and I'm making a difference. No, you're not. You're clogging traffic and everybody thinks you're a fucking moron. But it's that, again, those are the people on either side that believe in that sense of entitlement, that they're here doing something spectacular, right? And they're not. None of those people are, which makes me laugh. Like, I don't know if you guys did you guys see the Justin Trudeau ski hill mobbing yesterday? You guys see this shit? Did you guys see this?
Yeah.
Like, these people literally think that they're doing something. Now, is there something else afoot here? Maybe. But these people who accosted Justin Trudeau as he was snowboarding yesterday, magically found out where he was, are those people. That sense of entitlement. It doesn't matter what you're representing. It doesn't matter who you are. If you think you can just kind of ski up to the Prime Minister of Canada and go, hey, you got to change the way you do shit, you're an idiot. Yeah. And you're entitled and you've got this false sense of reality. Let's watch it together. I want your thoughts on it. Let's watch. That's JT in the red snowsuit and a helmet.
Like you're supposed to, your pain, which I totally agree with. Like,
RCMP getting between him and the guy in the yellow.
You're not doing that.
خلاص زياد
Okay, thank you. I called for a ceasefire as of December, and I'll keep calling for a ceasefire. Please do that.
Saying he's going to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. Just try to get a little skiing done. Magically, two boys. I don't know if you know this. Canada proud, first on the scene.
Yeah, funny how that works out. Eh?
Well,
Funny how that works out.
Yeah.
For me, like I think there's a couple of ways of looking at this. One, I don't know what happened at some point. Politics became such a toxic thing, and I've even heard politicians talking about it. About the change in how they communicate with each other, and it's not good. And you know what? There was a time when you could go into question period, you could debate, have a conversation, and then at the end of the day, go across the street and have a drink with everybody. And apparently, that's not happening anymore. The two sides are just they fight. Well, all sides are fighting so much that they can't even stand to be around each other. So I think that's interesting. That's an interesting development. But I also think that, I mean, we got into this from the conversation of victimhood, and I get that, and I understand that position, and I think it's obviously worth evaluating it from that perspective. But at the same time, we've got a leader, and listen, when I get into a conflict situation, when I have a disagreement with somebody, I do this. I mean, all joking aside about not working on myself and suppressing my feelings and trying to drink them away every night, I actually do work on trying to be a better person. And I don't know Justin Trudeau, and I'm not sure if he has these thoughts, but I don't think he does. I think he has made an excuse for where he's at and how he is represented in this country, kind of a lot like Dean does when we have conversations about the world that we live in, and he goes, everyone that thinks that way is just an idiot. I think Justin thinks that, and I think that's a mistake, because there's a reason why 25% of this country has a flag or a sticker on their car that says "fuck Trudeau." And if he doesn't think he's part of the problem,
they think he's attractive and want to have sex with him.
Maybe they do. Maybe he's got a poly-sized hog on.
They don't realize, if he doesn't realize his part in this, then we got a problem. Like, I would be sitting down personally if I was him and having a conversation with the people around me that I trust and legitimately saying, hey,
why does everybody
maybe
hate
I shouldn't
me?
run this next time?
Well, that is like a year and a half away.
Yeah.
First off,
I gotta tell you, Paul, before you go, I want to hear from you on this, because Lochlin is from Alberta, so of course he feels like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Ontario.
This is not an Alberta thing. This is a Canadian thing.
Let me finish. It's an Alberta thing. It's a uniquely Western Canada thing. However, like that
you don't
kind
see
of vitriol,
Trudeau
that kind
stickers?
of hatred. Yeah, no, totally. I'm saying like 40% of your province has those stickers, right? You used to have one. Anyway, doesn't matter. My point is this:
it was
more
just
people
on the
out there
back
hate
window.
him than they hate him out here, because you guys get a different news cycle out there. Like every province, every state gets a different news cycle. That's why in Alabama, people are like, yeah, IVF embryos are unborn children, and if you get rid of those embryos, you're murdering a child. You should go to jail. Like literally, people get different news everywhere. So you hate Trudeau more than we do out here. But there is fatigue, Paulie, and I mean the fatigue at some point affects everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like it affects a liberal supporter, it affects a conservative supporter, it affects the average Canadian. And you know what? It's one of the things the Conservatives have done a great job of, is telling everybody that you're sick and tired of this guy. It's 8 years.
The game is good.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give him credit.
I didn't need the Conservative Party to tell me.
But your thoughts? Are you tired of the dude, or are you just scared of like anybody else who might be a conservative taking the reins of this country?
So, well, to begin with, let's back it up a little bit. Do I have a personal problem with the man? No, I don't. He's brought in a lot of really good programs to this country that have benefited a lot of people.
Free dental care,
pharmacare.
He's also taxed us to death.
No, he
Actually,
hasn't taxed you to
that's
death.
not true, Locke. You're misinformed, my friend.
No,
You're well
no.
misinformed.
Oh, he's
No, we're
introduced
being
new
taxed
taxes.
to
No,
death.
you're not. No one's being taxed to death.
No
I'm
one
being
is.
gotta stop
taxed to
it.
death.
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah,
to
it's
Danielle
being
Smith.
taxed.
She spent $100 million on Tylenol that nobody could receive.
Yeah.
Got it before the supply chain issue was worked out.
So
The
you're
new
doing
stuff
what everybody else
arrived.
does.
Yeah, the whataboutism.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
but dude, you're
Daniel
offering no.
Smith.
See, and this is you're just part of Alberta. In Alberta, what they do is they're like, I hate the guy.
The
And you're
Turkish
like, why? And he's
Advil
like, 'cause he's an
was
asshole.
ridiculous. I mean, that was
Everything
so
she does is
stupid.
ridiculous. But like,
Yeah.
you're not in a province that has the ability to call the shots on effectiveness at the moment. That's
No,
all
we're
I'm
in a
saying.
province that doesn't get a say in how this country is run.
Because
Because
there's not even 5 million of them. There's
Can't
16
trust
million in Ontario,
so
9 million in Quebec, and 5 million in Alberta.
But
Do
we're
the math.
also
bottom line is we don't trust
being
you.
told that was going to be changed. Guess what hasn't changed?
Yeah, but we don't
We
trust
explained
you.
that though. There's a
We'll
reason
tell
it didn't
you-
change.
We'll tell you anything you need to hear in Alberta.
Mhm.
Bottom line is the rest of the country doesn't trust Alberta or Saskatchewan. That's why you're not allowed to pick
Well,
prime ministers. We've been through this.
Yeah,
Look what you're doing.
and look at where we're at. The poor guy can't even go skiing.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
Hey, listen, I'm not opposed to getting him out of the office. I get that. But my question to Paul is like, a hardcore liberal, which I am not. I fucking
I'm
hate
not.
politics. I know you're not either. But would a hardcore liberal be able to say, yeah, maybe it's time to turn the page for the good of this country?
Yeah,
Right.
I've spoken to a couple of friends who are hardcore liberals, card-carrying members of the party, who have said literally, I think it's time for him to go. And I'm like, oh, why is that? They're like, regime fatigue, leader fatigue is what it boils down to.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
unless he can do something dramatic for the next election, or Polyev does something ridiculous before the next election, which
100% chance of that
will.
happening.
100% chance. He says, I think we're looking at a minority a minority reform government, because they're not conservative and they're not progressive. But the issue that nobody seems to be addressing, and we talked about this on the show just the other day, was that if the NDP party was smart, they would get rid of Jagmeet Singh because he's ineffective as a leader. He's a nice guy, but he's ineffective as a leader because he flip-flops too much, taking credit where he didn't actually earn the credit, and then shitting on the guy who helped him get the program.
He's a douchebag. He's an
He is.
opportunist douchebag is what he is. Like he helps the liberals come up with pharmacare, holds them to account. Yeah, great, good. Everybody needs free diabetes medicine and some free rubbers and free pills for contraception. That's awesome. I love it. I think it's great. It's groundbreaking. It's like earth shaking. It's so good. And then as soon as they get the deal signed, you know what he does? Locke, he puts out a video and he's like, "We did that. Fuck Trudeau. He's in bed with Big Pharma." He's like,
That's basically
like
what
building,
he said.
It was like building a house like for Habitat for Humanity with your buddies, and then doing a press conference after, going, "I did all the work. None of them helped." Like that's exactly what he did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pretty standard.
Which is bad. So one of the things that
I
JB
think
suggested.
Sorry, Paul.
Mm.
One thing I think with that though is and I'm not defending the NDP party for that move, but I think everyone is desperately trying to separate themselves from Justin Trudeau because of the hatred for the man, right? So I'm not saying I'm not saying he should have had a kumbaya video and look, the coalition's working. Right?
Supply and
I'm not
confidence
suggesting
agreement.
Yeah, coalition.
It's not a coalition.
It kind of is if you
Well,
look up
no.
the meaning
I'm
of
getting
coalition.
I'm getting to the coalition though. I was leading us towards that.
Okay, go ahead.
I thought I'd jump in ahead of you.
No. What
and
he thought he'd do
destroy
is
it.
piss you
So
off.
the
That's what he
coalition,
thought he'd
the
do.
coalition
Yeah, go ahead.
worked for the NDP.
All right. Okay,
So here's what could happen in the next election. The Conservatives, maybe under the leadership of Pierre Poilievre, we don't know. I don't think he's going to last that long, to be honest with you. But maybe under the leadership of Pierre Poilievre, a year and a half from now, they win a minority government. But if you look at the 23% and the 22% that the Liberals and NDPs get their share, they could say, you know what, we're going to collate, we're going to get together, we're going to form a coalition government. They go to the Governor General, they say, hi, we have more votes, we're joining our parties together, we have more votes. The Governor General that then forms government with the coalition, perfectly legal, perfectly well within the means, and may very well happen in the next election.
Fucking awesome, dude! I can't.
And that would be good for Canada.
It
because
would.
Pierre Poilievre, no.
Yeah.
we
Listen,
would
you
light
wanna
the
give another
place
party
on
another
fire.
Jug meat will be gone, though. Between now and then, Locke, Jug meat will be gone. They will replace him with somebody else. I guarantee you.
You think that I'm worried about the jug meat thing?
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be
It's
Justin Trudeau
about
leading the party at the
Justin.
time either.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't be Justin Trudeau leading party. I don't
No.
think he will either.
No.
I think you're going to see him. I think you're going to see him go for a walk. If
they do that, people are going to lose their minds. If the conservative
majority of the
government
population
wins,
actually votes for those two parties,
yeah,
you're pleasing 50+%
what a
of the
fucking
population.
joke that is, too. Like, you know what? In the United States and in Canada, I just want to just side this little one in here. I do, and I think everybody needs to pay attention to this. We have been literally complaining about a two-party system for 200 years.
Yeah.
Like bitching, whining, moaning,
Literally.
yelling at each other. Now we're beating the shit out of each other over it, and we're not coming up with any options. Like no one's bothered to go, yeah, let's insert a new party into the mix. Let's think about this differently. Let's change the electorate. Let's figure this out.
Yeah, I like changing the electorate. That's a great idea.
Everybody should. We should do it. They should do it in the province.
Wasn't that a promise 8 years ago?
No, he said he was electoral reform, which apparently they're working on, which they're not.
Yeah, we're going to give everyone more of an equal say.
Well, and he tried that, and it died on the floor because the Bloc and the Conservatives couldn't agree on a fucking thing. And as a result, he said, well, you guys can't agree. I have to walk away. That, Lochlin, my friend, is what happened. But everybody conveniently leaves that out of the conversation, just like, and the balance will budget itself.
It doesn't fit my narrative, Paulie.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it doesn't fit the narrative. Exactly.
Yeah.
But realistically,
I choose to live in a world of denial when it comes to my hatred for the liberals.
I'm positive.
Why is it you hate them so much, Locke? What have they done
never
to
be able to
personally
explain
make your life miserable?
You'll never be able to explain it. Nobody can. Yeah,
nobody
but
can.
I'm interested in the answers for sure. Or
what
might sound like answers.
Nobody's been able to explain it to me. I hate
why they hate the guy?
Hey, why?
I will,
Vaccines.
Paulie. Let me say this. Let me say this. Okay. I really enjoy winding you up. So we'll start there.
Hey, you didn't think
you
he
go
brought up
like
the coalition?
6 shades of red whenever I bring up coalition.
He's passionate.
I do enjoy winding you up.
I gotta say, I don't mind watching Locke wind you up either. Like it's not the worst sport in the world.
I honestly, okay, I had a problem with Justin Trudeau when he won, and I couldn't put my finger on it. Right, like I couldn't nail it down. And
by the way, that'll be a recurring theme in your asking him this question. That'll be a recurring answer. I can't put my finger on it. He'll go to hair. He'll go to clothes. He'll go to the way he speaks, but nothing concrete. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
Like, okay, so I couldn't quite put my finger on it, and I remember when he would speak. And I would get like riled up in the kitchen. We're making dinner, and my wife would go, "What's wrong with you? Why do you hate him so much?" And I'm like, I haven't figured it out yet. So then, after about a year and a half, 2 years, I started to realize, he thinks he's better than everybody. He's virtue signaling. He's a total cock.
Give any examples of that?
I can't. The way he talks and the way he presents his opinions and his ideas drove me nuts. I'm sorry. Some people, I can be in a room with some people, and they can have fun. They can talk, right? And then another person will come in, and just the way they present themselves will just set me off. I don't know what it is, and I've been working on it my whole life. That judgment piece is something that I've been working. But I put Justin Trudeau in a box, and I'll tell you this. After a couple years, my wife would go, she started to see it as well. And again, it was, this is just me. I don't like the man. I would never be able to be friends with the guy. Based on how
by the way, we're 4 minutes into this. You still haven't given us a legitimate reason why you hate the guy.
I'm getting there. I need another 10.
I doubt it.
Okay. So
quick story.
Here's the other thing. I get the sense that he is not really who he is in front of us. Is an idea that he has of what he thinks people want him to be. I get that
Is that
sense. I
different
don't
from
think he's
anybody
very
else in the world,
genuine.
though?
That's politics.
That's the game, man. That's how it's played. You don't give 100% of yourself
You're
away.
not
like real
wrong,
people.
but that's across the board.
Well, then you're going to hate every single politician that's ever lived
They're
because
all
you're
lying.
never getting 100%
All right.
of them.
Yep.
Never.
Polly.
You're
All
never.
right. Now you're getting into my canoe. All right. How's
I
the
have
water?
friends on the Hill right now who are members of the Conservative Party. Well, former friends. One of them gave me this shirt, by the way.
The man, the legend.
So we're former friends. We don't speak anymore because this individual has literally swallowed hook, line, and sinker everything Polyev says. And I'm like, you just repeated a lie of his. And I called her out on it online. I immediately got blocked. I'm like, okay. When you first got voted in, we all went to dinner and we sat down and said, you're a good person. We know you love this country. We know you want to do good for the people of this country. And we're going to hold your feet to the fire if you don't. We're going to hold you responsible for what you say and do. If you step away, if you step outside the lines, if you do something that's harmful, we're going to call you out on it. And she's like, yes, thank you. I want you to do that. Well, the first time I did, guess what happened to me?
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but that's the world that we live in right now, Paulie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Such cool people in politics. I wish I could be a politician. I was thinking about it the other day because that Jamil Javandi guy became a politician. He won the Oshawa riding, so he's the dude in Oshawa. He took over for Aaron O'Toole. And this dude, Locke, you know those like guys you call them sports donkeys, like radio dudes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So by the way, politics is just a collection of media legal failures. People that are no longer in the media industry, people who got fired, lawyers who can no longer do a job. That's what politics is. So just let me preface it, right? So you got Michelle Ferrari, who was like a fake media person for a while. She used to do a show. She's a Marcy Ian. There's so many fake politicians that are out of work broadcasters. Case in point, Jamil Javandi. Jamil Javandi is a apparently well-educated individual. Comes from a mixed race family. And was a radio host at Bell for a long time for 1010. And he got fired for a litany of reasons, which, has been posted online. Everybody sees it. People call him a shock jock. Listen, he's not. I know what shock jocks are. He's not a shock jock. He wasn't good enough at that job. He had terrible ratings. No one listened to his show. He was one of those guys, those culture vultures back then. He was just this little pissant who complained all the time that the world didn't come to him. Well, now he's an MP, like a federal fucking MP. Because Pierre Poilievre just kind of parachuted and dropped him into Oshawa. And he's like, you're going to be the MP here because we haven't lost this riding in like 50 years. So, of course, you're going to win. Yeah. So he wins. So then he does a speech where he's like, I'm coming for everybody. Because not only has this guy failed his entire life at everything he's ever done, failed upwardly. Now he wins a riding that was given to him. And he's all of a sudden important. Mm-hmm. So he's telling everybody how cool and important he is. To that point, anybody that ascends to office in any capacity like that is a liar from the fucking word go, from Jump Street. They're not human beings. They're just dickheads. They're just dickheads that were given an opportunity by someone because they're going to carry somebody else's mail and water.
That's all it is.
They'll wipe the baby's bum for you. That's why Jamil Javandi exists. That's why politics exists. And to Paul's point, you still haven't come up with a reason. And that's why I don't like Jamil Javandi, because he's a failure.
Yeah.
I can point to his failures. I can point to what he's done wrong. I can point to Pierre Poilievre doing bad things. I can point to lies. I can point to like flat out lies, compulsive lies. I can't do the same with Trudeau. Can you?
And that's the problem. People will say, well, what about this? He had to pay off. And that never happened.
And you know what? I don't want to like Trudeau.
No, I know.
Because like you, he drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the way he talks.
I you know what? Honestly, I'm not going to sit here and start bringing up all these things that he's done that I don't agree with. I mean, I'm sort of in the camp, guys, of I don't trust any of them, and
that's a fair point.
And I think a lot of the politics that the side stuff, pick a side and then defend it. I'm over that. And I get the sense that that's just not helping the conversation at all. You know what? You voted for that guy. You're an idiot. I didn't vote for this guy. That conversation I think is what's causing the problem. Like the divisiveness
but we can't lean into like reasons why everybody is just tired of the entire thing. And we go back.
It's
to, like,
unfortunate.
right?
The
Like you got
culture
two
in
parties that we've just been eating their shit for the past like 200 years, and everybody like, I can't be the only person. Like we all, and dude, it's like conservatives, liberals, every single person, doesn't matter what you believe. We all say the same thing. This is crazy. We can't keep doing this, but we keep doing
Yes.
it.
But we keep
Right?
doing it over and over.
but I don't know what
Yeah.
the fix is. And I, you know what? So when I talk about politics, I try to talk about it from where I stand. I'm in the middle, and I don't feel like I have anybody that represents me. And I don't think it's unfair of me to ask people
A
to actually
cishet
be.
white man. You don't have
I don't
anybody
think
who
it's-
represents you.
No,
Paulie,
do I?
I don't think it's unfair of me to ask people to actually give me their honest opinion and be
Oh, agreed.
genuine.
No, agreed.
I'm pushing that, and I got fired last week, and I've literally had, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 radio people tell me this is a great time, Locker. You can reinvent yourself so you'll be more palatable for that next company that's going to grab you and market you.
Do you want that?
It's like, man, you are so off. Like, I am just not on that I'm just not on that plane. I'm just not. I am who I am, and I'm kind of unapologetic about it.
I respect
and you know
that
what?
and appreciate it.
If you don't like me, you know what? I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be able to get through my day, right? But if I have an appreciation for you, I'm gonna give you my time. And you know what? If you say something that upsets me, which probably won't happen because it's hard to upset me, I'll be honest with you. And I just don't think we have enough of that in the world that we live in.
I agree.
Right?
I agree with you. And here's the other thing too, Locke. Here's the thing, Locke, that you
hearing you say you don't get angry that much.
Here's the thing you don't give yourself credit for, Locke, that you inserted this into the show a number of times, and we've referred to your quote about how the toxicity in this country right now and around the world is keeping good people from getting into the political sphere. And the frightening aspect is, look what we're getting as a result. You're getting megalomaniacs who want to run the world in the way they want to see fit. They don't want to govern. They want to dictate. Pierre Poilievre is not somebody who wants to govern this country. He wants Gilead. He wants to dictate to us how we're going to live our lives by making us the freest country in the world, by taking away a ton of our rights. How do you do that? Well, you can't. And as a result of the toxicity and the poison and media not doing their correct job and letting politicians who lie directly to our faces on the daily get away with it over and over and over again. I mean, they're starting to finally confront him about this, but it's been too damn long. And as a result, anybody who had that idealism of, I'm going to get in and make a difference, are now like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Yeah, it's the Trump effect, right? It's the
problem.
MAGA effect, where you're like, why even bother? Like, it's just
It's a big
an uphill
problem.
battle for years, and I don't feel like making myself crazy. And if you think about what you control and what you don't being the key to your happiness, and you've got two parties that are willing to tell you how you're going to live your life, because listen, you can say that Trudeau doesn't, but he does. Like his MPs have vilified me for being un-Canadian, for having an issue with some of his digital bills.
Oh, and I hate that.
You don't
shit.
like Canada.
I hate that shit.
I'm like,
it's
like, fuck yourself, man.
No, I'm standing up for my country because I don't agree with what you're saying. Which is the Canadian ideal. You have the right to do that.
Sure, you do.
It's your duty to do that. If the government puts forward a bill that you disagree with, voice your opinion loudly.
I did, and I was called un-Canadian by Chris Biddle. Said I like big tech more than I like this country, and I'm like, go fuck yourself, Chris Biddle. But keep in mind, that's the same guy that was like, hey, Michael Geist, don't worry about the anti-Semite we gave the money to. Don't worry about it. So fuck whatever. I mean, politics is what it is. But my point is this: is that I think all of us are saying the same thing. And it's time that everybody, and I don't mean just like liberals, conservatives, I don't mean PPC, whatever. It's time that everybody goes, okay, well, what are you doing to us? It's not like, what am I being forced to believe and who am I being forced to vote for? It's like, hey, no. Let's have a chat. Let's have a chat about what these institutions have done to us and forced us to fight each other for no good reason for the past 200 years. Let's just do that first. Well, but no one's willing to do that. I'm the only guy that said, I could be the smartest person in the world. I just kind of settled into that idea right now while I was actually mentioning those.
I really want, you know what I want?
The rest of us fighting each other. So if we're fighting each other, we can't pay attention to how they're screwing us over.
Yeah, exactly.
Paulie, this is what and both sides are doing it.
No lube.
Both sides, they just find different ways of screwing us. They just find different ways of bending us over. Yeah, and again, I'm not going to get into examples, but we're gonna, a lot more is going to come out about what this government has done to us and how they took advantage.
Is that
of
where
the
you're
system.
going with? You're going with wait, just wait. You're going with just wait to see what this government did to us.
Just wait. Just wait.
I've been waiting.
You know what I want, Paulie? You know what I really want? I want to go into a voting booth and put a name down, mark a check mark next to a name that I feel good about. I haven't felt good about who I've voted for years. I don't know, and I don't talk to anybody that doesn't go into a booth and hold their nose and vote. And that's the problem in the world that we live in right now. Whether you're liberal, conservative, or red, it doesn't matter where you stand on the spectrum of politics. I think a lot of us go in. I think the majority of us go in and hold our nose when we put that mark down on that paper.
And I used to do that too. I used to do that.
That's my biggest issue.
I used to do that, and then I had a conversation with a buddy of mine who was a much smarter individual than I, much more educated in politics.
Guaranteed it wasn't me then.
Worked in that world for a number of years, and he said, well, Paul, you got to remember something. We don't elect a prime minister. We elect a parliament. So what you need to do is pay close attention to, in a federal election, who is the MP in your riding? Which one, regardless of party, which one is going to do the best for your community, your neighborhood, the people that you live with? Which one of those individuals? And make your decision based on that. Then you don't have to sit there and hold your nose about, I got to vote for NDP because I can't let that. You're electing an MP in your riding. You're not electing a prime minister. Even the people who live in the PM's riding are not electing a prime minister. You're electing a member of parliament. We don't elect a prime minister, which is what pisses me off when I hear members of parliament for the Conservative Party, or the Reform Party really is what they are, say, Pierre Poilievre for prime minister. You can't run for that position. Nobody does. You run for a leader of the party. If your party wins the most seats and they get to form government, that leader can then assume the position of prime minister. But they don't even have to. They can defer it to their deputy. So Melissa Landsman could be the next
Paulie, I understand what you're saying, and yes, that is a nice way of looking at it.
Well,
that's not how we vote in this country. We vote to get the guy that we don't like out.
We don't vote for somebody. We vote somebody. You're correct, Locke. We do. And what I'm trying to do is trying to educate as many people. It's like you have to vote for the constituency that you live in, because that's who you're voting for.
Yeah.
So holding your nose and voting for, it's stupid.
It'd be great if we could just do like a battle. Like if you just to get a
sword,
like jousting
sword
or
play.
Something. Yeah. Some sword play, maybe a duel, right? Like if you want to go back, like Pierre Poilievre wants to take us back to the turn of the century. Let's really fucking do it. Where you put like a liberal and a conservative back to back, give them each a pistol, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna count to 5. When I say 5,
and then we do a pay-per-view,
and then you're.
Well, remember when he was trying to pretend to be a boxer? Put him in the ring with Trudeau and let's see what happens.
Why not? I mean, listen, I was watching this movie called The King, Timothy Chalamet. I think he was in it with Robert Pattinson.
That's a good
movie. Like, listen, why send all of our people out to fight each other? Let's save everybody. You and I'll just have a scrap.
Yeah.
King of England and the King of France. We'll go at it. And whoever wins, that's the winner.
Yeah. You're on to this.
Can go home. Yeah.
And
it's like,
and then to make it interesting, while they're in the middle of a duel, you also send wild dogs in.
Yeah. Because you don't care who wins that duel. You're like, you guys are both fucks. We're tired of both of you.
And if you can shoot your opponent and outrun the dogs,
milk bone in their pockets too. Yeah. Some liverwurst, and just see what happens. I'm being serious.
And we all get to bet on it.
Fuck debates. No one needs a debate. Nobody needs any of that stuff. You know what we need? We need a full-on fist fight. Like I just saw that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are fighting.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, Logan or Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. I just saw that announcement just come across my screen. Boom.
That's awesome.
Who wouldn't pay big money?
I want to see it.
Pierre Poilievre and Justin Trudeau in the octagon in some tidy whities. Guaranteed a bunch of people would have really awkward boners that they work with. And they'd be like, let's go. Whoever's last. You remember when Patrick Brazeau and Justin Trudeau had a fight? They got in a fist fight. It was like a pay-per-view, and it was like a charity match and stuff like that. I don't know who won. Doesn't matter. They both look ridiculous because they had to wear
we
hockey
interviewed
helmets.
Senator Brazeau recently and talked about that. And one of the things, he was really magnanimous about his defeat. He said, here's
he
the
lost.
thing. Oh, yeah, he lost. And he said, he kicked my ass. And he goes, I was stupid. I thought, because, I'm an MMA fighter, I'm going to kick his ass. But the thing was, he's
also
been
might have been
training as a
drunk.
boxer for decades, because you got to remember his father was an athlete.
Mhm.
So Justin Trudeau spent 6 months training for that fight, like a professional fighter
Seriously.
would.
Yeah. Well, dude, then let's do this.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'd fuck the debates. Like you say, hey, we're gonna
It's
fight.
the best
or we're gonna
idea
have a
you've
debate.
ever
I'll
had,
watch
Dean.
you fight every time.
I would pay good money to see Polyev get in a ring with Trudeau. Oh,
I would
that
too.
would be fun.
I would too.
Or
Enough
better
of that
yet,
chirping.
Polyev in the
Please.
ring with Jug Meat. Remember, Jug Meat is an MMA fighter with a black belt.
Whatever.
Really?
He just
I
tells
didn't
people
know
that.
Yeah.
He doesn't
No,
scare
no.
me.
He's a
He doesn't
badass.
scare me.
Don't kid yourself.
No, he's not a badass.
Yeah, he is. I
No.
have friends who know him quite well.
Well, that's nice.
He's,
He doesn't scare me.
He's a tough guy. Don't kid yourself.
I'm tougher.
You're bigger. He's
Much.
not real tall.
No, but I am. And here's the thing. I'm not tough, but I don't feel pain. And I'm the guy that's like, if I'm not dead, then we can keep this up. So it's like you lose every time. He just gets so exhausted beating the shit out of me that I would
He's
just
gonna do
win
the
by
rope-a-dope.
attrition at the end. Yeah. Anyway,
I am
I
the
think we did some
worst
good work
fighter.
here.
I look awful fighting, and I would get my ass on a regular basis in hockey. Just get my ass handed to me. It was awful.
I was
Well,
a goalie.
listen, I appreciated watching you and Paul go at it today.
It was fun.
Yeah, this is why I don't let Charles Adler anywhere near you, by the way.
Oh,
Like
that
what
would
we
be a
just saw
bad
today.
idea.
No, it's an awful
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I would. He would probably cry at the end of
No,
the
he
podcast
wouldn't.
with me.
No, he wouldn't.
No?
he wouldn't.
He'd
You'd
be-
find him
well,
at
then
your
he'd be
house
so
with
angry,
sunglasses
his-
on like 4 hours after
his
you
hair
did a
would pop
podcast
off.
with him. And we'd never see you again. That's what I'd be worried about. Anyway, Paulie, great to see you. True North Eager Beaver podcast, anywhere you get your fine podcast. It's our morning show, and they're on every single morning. Go to @Paulie's World on Twitter. You can go to True North Eager Beaver @Crier Media, wherever you get your fine podcasts. They Google Live every day. You can get them on our Crier Media YouTube channel as well. Every single weekday morning. Really enjoy your show. It's
Thanks,
starting
brother.
to really take off.
It really
Thousands
is.
and thousands and thousands of people watch every morning. So I appreciate you kind of explaining some stuff to us and wearing that shirt. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for
Talk
having
to you
me.
soon. Yeah. There
Good
you go,
man, Paulie.
He's one of the best. Anyway, thanks for
I
doing
like
this, dude. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
That
Let's
was a
work
good
on
one
that.
today.
Let's work on the Thunderdome political debates. I think that's a great fucking idea too.
Who do we get? Like, who do we reach out about that?
We can get in touch with Patrick Brazeau, Canadian senator. Good dude. He follows me. We talk from time to time. We have similar interests. See if we can do that. Say, hey, what about this?
Bet365, get them on board. So
Tony
we can
Bet.
start making some odds.
FanDuel. Hey, do a parlay. Get Melanie Jolie up against Melissa Lantsman. That's the undercard. Of course, the main event is Trudeau Polyev, but like I wouldn't mind seeing like that guy Michael Cooper, the guy that looks like a scarecrow and a sex
He's in
doll at the
Alberta.
same time. Yeah, the Alberta guy. This guy looks like a scarecrow.
He looks more like a ventriloquist's dummy.
Yeah, I would like to see him go at it with Chrystia Freeland. I think she'd win that fight. I really do. I think we could have a whole card. It'd be like an entire UFC, but only with politicians. That you're like, I don't care who wins or loses as long as someone gets hurt.
By the way, next week, if we can make this announcement, we are going to have a locker room segment on this podcast every day.
The locker room makes its return.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
Lochlin Cross bringing the locker room back to this show, and it will give birth to a series of things that are locker room related. It's a strong brand. We're really excited to work with you and your partners as well. So excited for that. But make sure you follow Lochlin. Yeah, absolutely. Lochlin Cross in the Locker Room YouTube channel. Give them a follow. Subscribe there. You can also go and follow him at Lochlin Cross on Twitter. Anything that he does is at Crier Media, crier.co. Thanks for doing this. Go sleep off that hangover, dude.
I will. Thank you, brother.
Anytime. Talk to you soon. Lochlin Cross, 95. No, not there anymore. Almost said it. It's habit. Habits are hard to break. I literally, when I left the Edge, I picked up my personal phone for about 2 years after and just went, "Hi, the Edge." It's tough sometimes. Anyway, have a great weekend, everybody. Really appreciate you spending some time with us. And don't forget, that Trudeau video that Canada Proud posted? Well, we're embroiled in a lawsuit with them. That's right. They sued us for embarrassing them. We've got to GoFundMe. It's in the description of this podcast. We're taking them to court. The discovery is going to be interesting. We hope to get some answers for Canadians about how disinformation works and how Pierre Poilievre and his group of incredible memers have been able to rage farm, kettle, lie, pass on disinformation, misinformation for the past few years, and what it has done to you. And you would like to know how it works, where the funding for that comes from. So join us in our GoFundMe. Go to my Twitter feed, @It's Dean Blundell. You can also, in the description of this podcast, make a donation or share that link with anybody that you would like to get some answers from Canada Proud about, and why they're tearing the fabric of Canadian society apart for votes. Anyway, we appreciate it. Your help and support has been incredible. GoFundMe, disinformation, Canada Proud lawsuit. You can just go to the GoFundMe and you can search it up, or you can actually check it out in the description of this podcast as well. So appreciate all your help, because, we're going to meet them in court and see how it goes. Also, we're brought to you by our friends at Fact Check. This is a disinformation killer. They're looking for people to sign up for their beta test software that checks everything from social media posts to pictures to videos to spoken word, news stories, any URL. If it's from Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, it doesn't matter. If it's online and it makes a claim and you want to check that claim, Fact Check will debunk that claim or make sure that you understand what you're reading is actual fact-based information. It is a disinformation killer that checks the full epistemology of what you are reading. It checks origin, it checks people, it checks sentiment, and then it provides you a full report that you can then share with other people so you can use that real information to fight disinformation. Join the Fact Check beta testing team. Become a verified fact checker today at faktchek.io and find out, do you believe? Also brought to you by our friends at CanTorque, makers of rugged, hardworking torque wrenches, unparalleled expertise for 20 years around the world, out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Every single tooling solution under one roof, doesn't matter what it is. They are Canada's leading industrial tool experts, giving you the very best in sales, service, rentals, calibration, and custom fabrication of industrial torque tools. What is a torque tool? It's a torque wrench that operates like a mega torque wrench for very, very specific bolting solutions that you can't find one for. Heavy machinery, nuclear, railroad, forestry. They have you covered. They're a one-stop shop. Check out their new podcast at cantorque.com today. Also, we're brought to you by Ed's Fine Imports and his Gitch, luxury branded underwear, boxer briefs, pouch in the front. You'll love them. They've got a 4-pack, they got a single pack, and they've also got a free pair for you when you use Gitch 3 at checkout. Buy 3, get 1 free. Engineered for any level of performance and everyday life. Gitch is super soft, barely there fabric, great waistband, boxer briefs with the pouch in the front. They are incredible, all kinds of sizes, a bunch of different colors, and they'll be the only underwear you ever buy again. I can guarantee you that. Go to edsfineimports.com. That's where you'll get them 15% off when you give them your email address at checkout as well. Use promo code GITCH3. Get a free pair of underwear. If it's free, it's for me. Might as well. If you're going to buy 3, get the 4th one for free. GITCH3 is your promo code. And, of course, brought to you by the ladies at Muse on the Mic podcast. Muse Massage Spa is where they operate, Canada's #1 body rub parlor, 1290 Finch Avenue West. They've also got an incredible podcast. They're advocates and educators in the sex work industry, sexologists. They understand you. They understand their clients. They understand the women that they advocate for. And you learn a thing or two about relationships, love. You learn a thing or two about kink and interest. And that is what their podcast is all about, completely uncensored. When you get them at Patreon, Muse on the Mic Patreon, subscribe to their channel today. Also, subscribe to their YouTube channel as well, Muse on the Mic YouTube. And join them at their spa, www.musemassagespa.com. Check out their muses, choose your treatments, check out their schedule. Download their podcast. Emily and Riley had a great meeting with them yesterday. Smart ladies, entrepreneurs. Anyway, thanks to Lochlin. Thanks to Paulie. Thanks to you for spending some time with us. Have a wonderful weekend. We will see you tomorrow. And don't forget, thank you. You can rate and subscribe everything we do here at Crier Media, YouTube channel, Crier Media, Dean Blundell Show, and, of course, anywhere you get your audio podcasts. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.